Operations at the United Arab Emirates' largest gas hub, the Habshan complex, were abruptly shut down following a dramatic aerial attack. This attack led to falling debris and ignited a fire, forcing an emergency closure of the facility, which is a critical component of the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company's ADNOC infrastructure. The Abu Dhabi media office confirmed that the fire started after air defenses neutralized the incoming threat. Despite the successful interception, debris hit sensitive areas within the gas processing facility, which is essential for distributing fuel across the Emirates for domestic consumption. The attack on the Habshan complex occurred merely hours after similar strikes in Kuwait targeted key facilities, resulting in fires at the Mina Ahmadi refinery and damage to a nearby power and desalination plant. Iran has denied any involvement in these attacks, instead blaming Israel. Emergency crews were immediately dispatched to the affected areas in both Natio NS, working tirelessly to control the fires and assess the damage. Operations were suspended as a precautionary measure to ensure safety while the situation was brought under control. A report by Reuters highlighted that the incident in the UAE unfolded after aerial interception measures were activated in response to a perceived threat. Although the interception was deemed successful, the falling debris caused a localized fire within the perimeter of the gas infrastructure, leading to a temporary cessation of operations. Authorities quickly cordoned off the affected areas, conducted structural safety assessments, and initiated inspections to ensure no secondary risks remained. The media office emphasized that containment measures were effective and safety protocols were successfully executed to prevent casualties or significant disruptions. In a separate incident, officials confirmed that debris from intercepted missiles fell over Ajban in Abu Dhabi, injuring at least 12 individuals. Among the injured were 7 Nepali citizens and 5 Indian nationals. One Nepali victim sustained serious injuries when fragments struck residential areas following the interception of incoming threats by air defenses. Meanwhile, the UAE Ministry of Defense disclosed that its air defenses had shot down a significant number of projectiles, including 18 ballistic missiles, 4 cruise missiles, and 47 drones launched from Iran on a single day. Since the onset of these attacks, the UAE claims to have intercepted a total of 475 ballistic missiles, 23 cruise missiles, and 285 unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, describing this as one of the region's largest sustained aerial defense operations. The Middle East tensions have escalated further as Iranian media reports suggest that Israeli and U.S. forces targeted key gas infrastructure within Iran. This escalation occurred shortly after U.S. President Donald Trump appeared to step back from threats of further action. According to Iran's Fars and news agencies, strikes were reported at 2 major gas facilities in Isfahan. The report indicated that both a gas administration building and a pressure regulation station were hit, although Fars was the only Iranian outlet to report these strikes, casting doubt on the scale and confirmation of the incident. In another development, a strike was reported in the southwest near Hampshire, where a projectile is said to have landed outside a gas pipeline processing station linked to a local power plant. Authorities confirmed the impact but reported no damage or disruption to operations. The timing of these developments is noteworthy, as just hours earlier, President Trump suggested that negotiations with Iran were progressing well. Donald Trump stated, based on preliminary conversations between the United States and Iran over the past 2 days, I've directed the Department of War to temporarily postpone planned strikes against major energy and electricity targets in Iran. He emphasized potential for a broader agreement, acknowledging the delicate nature of military and diplomatic maneuvers in the region. Trump's remarks highlighted the ongoing complexities and potential for escalation in the region. His comments underscored the precarious nature of the geopolitical landscape, where military actions and diplomatic negotiations are intertwined in a delicate balance. The current situation underscores the volatility of geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, with accusations flying between nations and the specter of military conflict looming. The actions of the United States, Iran, and other regional players continue to shape the narrative, with each move closely scrutinized by the international community. As the world watches these developments unfold, the hope for a peaceful resolution remains, albeit tempered by the realities of the situation. The potential for further conflict persists, and the actions of leaders in the coming days will be crucial in determining the path forward. The recent escalation of tensions in the Middle East has captured international attention following a series of aerial attacks that have thrust the region into turmoil. Operations at the United Arab Emirates' largest gas hub were abruptly halted after an intercepted aerial attack caused debris to fall onto the Habshan complex. This incident ignited a fire and prompted an emergency shutdown of the critical facility, which is a key component of the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company's infrastructure. According to the Abu Dhabi media office, the blaze began after air defenses successfully neutralized the incoming threat, but debris struck sensitive areas within the gas processing facility responsible for gathering and distributing fuel across the Emirates for domestic use. The attack on Habshan occurred just hours after similar strikes in Kuwait, where key facilities were targeted, resulting in fires at the Mina Ahmadi refinery and damage to a nearby power and desalination plant. Iran has denied responsibility for these attacks, instead pointing the finger at Israel. Part 2. The recent escalation in tensions across the Middle East, particularly involving the United Arab Emirates, UAE, Iran, and the United States, is emblematic of a broader geopolitical struggle that has persisted in the region for decades. These events underscore the fragile nature of peace and the potential for rapid escalation into conflict, which demands a closer examination of the underlying factors and potential ramifications. The aerial attacks targeting critical energy infrastructure in the UAE and Kuwait serve as a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities inherent in the global energy supply chain. The Habshan complex in Abu Dhabi, which was forced to suspend operations, is a vital component of the UAE's energy framework, playing a key role in processing and distributing natural gas. Similarly, the Mina Ahmadi refinery in Kuwait is a crucial facility for the country's oil production and export capabilities. Disruptions at these sites not only impact regional economies, but also have far-reaching implications for global energy markets, which are already susceptible to fluctuations due to geopolitical tensions. Iran's denial of involvement in the attacks, coupled with its accusations against Israel, highlights the complex web of alliances and enmities that characterize Middle Eastern politics. This dynamic is further complicated by the involvement of the United States, whose strategic interests in the region have historically been both a stabilizing and destabilizing force. The Trump administration's recent actions, including the temporary halt on military strikes against Iranian targets, reflect a nuanced approach that balances military readiness with diplomatic engagement. Donald Trump, the former president of the United States, articulated this dual strategy, stating, "Based on preliminary conversations between the United States and Iran over the past 2 days, I've directed the Department of War to temporarily postpone planned strikes against major energy and electricity targets in Iran. This pause in military action suggests a potential opening for dialogue, yet it also underscores the precariousness of the situation. The military capabilities and readiness of the UAE were brought into sharp focus as its air defenses intercepted a significant number of projectiles, including ballistic and cruise missiles, as well as drones." The UAE's Ministry of Defense reported that its forces successfully neutralized these threats, highlighting the country's advanced military infrastructure and a strategic importance in the region's defense architecture. However, the presence of falling debris causing damage and injuries raises questions about the effectiveness of such defense systems in entirely preventing collateral damage. The broader geopolitical context cannot be ignored. The alleged Israeli and U.S. strikes on Iranian gas fossil IDs, as reported by Iran's Fars news agency, add another layer of complexity to the situation. Although the veracity of these reports is debated, they illustrate the tit-for-tat nature of regional conflicts, where actions by one party can trigger retaliatory measures by another, further escalating tensions. The stakes of these developments are not confined to military and political realms. The potential for further conflict poses significant risks to the global economy, particularly if key energy supply routes such as the Strait of Hormuz become contested. This strategic waterway is a vital conduit for a substantial portion of the world's oil shipments, and any disruption could have severe consequences for global energy prices and economic stability. Amid these tensions, the role of diplomatic efforts becomes increasingly critical. The possibility of negotiations between the United States and Iran, as suggested by Trump's remarks, offers a glimmer of hope for de-escalation. However, the success of such efforts will depend on the willingness of all parties to engage in meaningful dialogue and compromise. The international community, including influential players like the European Union, Russia, and China, can play a pivotal role in facilitating these discussions and encouraging restraint. The recent incidents also highlight the importance of crisis management and emergency response capabilities. The swift actions of emergency crews in the UAE and Kuwait to contain fires and assess damage demonstrate the critical role of preparedness in mitigating the impact of such attacks. However, the injuries sustained by civilians in Abu Dhabi due to falling debris underscore the need for continuous improvement in civilian protection measures. In conclusion, the situation in the Middle East remains fluid and fraught with uncertainties. While there are opportunities for diplomatic resolutions, the potential for conflict persists, driven by long-standing rivalries and geopolitical interests. The coming days and weeks will be crucial in determining the trajectory of these tensions, with the actions of regional and global leaders playing a decisive role in shaping the future stability of the region. As the world watches closely, the hope for peace remains, tempered by the realities of the challenges that lie ahead.